Good morning. We're going to start by singing together today. This is in the Teal hymnal, number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. And please rise in body or spirit if you would like to. And again, this is 1008 in the Teal hymnal. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes. Our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. Heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, heart is in a holy place.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm Reverend Lydia Ferrante Roseberry. I'm joined today by Service Associate Brigitta Vieira. Julie Morris and Wendy Nelson are providing music this morning. And our fabulous tech team, Larry Sherwood, Mary Stackpole, and Karen Griglack on Zoom. Hello, Zoomies. And of course, you all are here. We're all here together in one big, beloved community. As I say the welcome words today, take a look around at the beauty and uniqueness of those around you. You are all welcome here today. In all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes and sizes, abilities and challenges that come together in your uniqueness, you are welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. In all the ways you make your living, in all the places you are from, you are welcome here. No matter how long you've been away, nor how soon you will return, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome everyone here today. especially today as we explore some of our Unitarian history with indigenous tribes in this area. We acknowledge that the land surrounding us is the stolen territory of the Arapaho, and that many, many tribes roamed freely on this land for millennia before the arrival of white settlers. And we in this congregation commit ourselves to being a center for spiritual exploration and justice making, and to anti-racism and anti-oppression work within and beyond the congregation. If you're new here, we're glad you found us and hope that in this community, whether you're in person or virtually, you can experience the love and caring of this congregation. Each Sunday is different here, so please come a few times to really get to know us. And we have many opportunities during the week for people to get engaged with the congregation. Maybe even engaged, I don't know. It's been known to happen within UU congregations, right, Wendy? Today is a new member Sunday, and because of that ceremony, we won't have our usual joys and concerns this morning. So please feel free to contact me or the neighborhood connectors or lay pastoral care associates if you have a joy or concern you would like us to know. And those other folks have little badges under their name tags that would say neighborhood connector or lay pastoral care associate. Those on Zoom can check out the chat for ways to get better connected. Those of you in person can look in the back of your hymnal for a QR code to connect you up with the fellowship, or you can also go to the welcome desk. If you're on Zoom and you're new to us and you'd like to introduce yourself in the chat, please do. We'd love to know who is with us. And if you're here in person and this is one of your first visits and you'd like to introduce yourself, we welcome you to raise your hand or whatever might be a way that you can indicate that you'd like to do so, and we will bring a microphone to you. Just with a simple name and where you live would be fine. Oh, would you mind doing that? We have someone over there. Great.
Good morning. Hi. Can I say who you are? My name is Owen Bailey. I am 8 years old and I live in Lafayette, which is actually really near this church. I have 2 houses and my other house is in Lafayette too.
Oh, cool.
I'm Justin, Dad, and Kate, Mom.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome. Good morning.
I'm Ruth Harvey. I have only 1 apartment, not even 2 houses. I live at Affinity in Lafayette.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome, Ruth.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Anyone else this morning want to say hello? Oh, there's another right over there.
Good morning.
Hi, I'm Caleb Dickinson. I live in Louisville, and this is my first time here. Been to UU before, but first time here.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
Did I see another hand somewhere? Oh, I'm just seeing people waving to each other. The sweet hellos of Sunday morning. Yeah, thank you, Owen, for starting us off, because sometimes it takes a courageous person to get other people to introduce themselves as well. So you'll notice today that we've switched our mask policy from masks required to masks recommended. I just want to say that I know this is long awaited for some of you, but for others it is a loss. So we do have some immunocompromised members of this congregation for whom going to masks recommended and not required means that they have lost the capacity to come here on Sunday morning. So as we adjust to this change, please be mindful that while it can feel wonderful to some of us, it is challenging to others. And as you know, the COVID-19 task force will continue to monitor the data, and Worship in the Arts Council will be continuing to find ways to have our gatherings be as inclusive as we can. And there will be 2 of those this month that will be mask required. Pay attention to your Connections Weekly and your emails to find out when those are. And now we'll light our chalice. So if you have a chalice at home, feel free to light it as we light it, and put in the chat where you have lit your chalice. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. And now I'll sing our bowl a second time, and just allow the sound of the bowl to draw you deeper into the present moment and into the company of this broad gathered community. We are starting this morning with our new member ceremony. So if Rosemary Arp from Path to Membership would come up, and Janet Meyer, our board president, as well as those of you who are joining this morning. We're actually going to stay right over here, correct? For accessibility. Come on over here. For centuries, Unitarians and Universalists have gathered, seeking a higher purpose and a deeper life in community than they could find alone. I'm always grateful when we welcome new members to our congregation, and that you have found us and we have found you. We have here, Rosemary, why don't you? I'm going to pass it to our Path to Membership person, Rosemary.
Good morning. I'm Rosemary Arp, Path to Membership Coordinator, and we're here to welcome and covenant with individuals who have joined in September at our Path to Membership, and also someone, Jaya, who has joined in the spring but wasn't able to be part of the ceremony. Also, Drake and Ginny Fink joined, but they couldn't be here this Sunday, so watch for them at another Sunday service. These terrific folks bring their yearnings and passions, and they nourish our community by their presence. Their photos and biographies will be sent to our fellowship listserv tomorrow. Join us now as we officially receive them into our fellowship through our covenant.
I'm going to invite you each to just state your name and the town you live in, because we get to know each other in our little town groupings. And then you all can say back, welcome, and the person's first name.
My name is Jaya Rosenfels, and I live in Longmont.
Welcome, Jaya.
I'm Barbara Garrity, and I live in Thornton.
Welcome, Barbara.
I'm Anzella Cantwell, and I live in Westminster.
Welcome, Anzella. We hope that as members of this congregation, you will allow yourselves to know and to be known, to minister to and to be ministered unto, to love and to be loved by this congregation. The relationships we form in this fellowship are based on the needs of the soul, needs which render each of us vulnerable and therefore reliant on each other's grace and goodness and generosity of spirit. Unitarian Universalist congregations are part of the free church movement. That means two things that are really important to what we're doing today. First of all, Unitarian Universalism is a freely chosen religious path, even for those who were born into the tradition. I'm going to assume that none of you feel coerced to join this morning. Okay. And second, our tradition requires no allegiance as a creed or a litmus test to membership. We respect each individual's spiritual journey, and we come together to support one another as we collectively seek to live lives of integrity and wholeness. But that does not make it an easy faith. There are no easy answers. Nothing will be fed to you. So you're invited to grapple with your faith and bring your values into right action amongst us. And because of this, each of us will fall short of our aspirations. And when we do that, we invite each other back into covenant, back into right relationship with one another. We do all of this guided by our Unitarian and Universalist principles. Will you all join me in saying our new member covenant, as you will see in the slides? We'll start with Janet, the board president.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my privilege to welcome you as the newest members of the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We hope you find with us a place where you can both nurture your spirit and be part of healing the world.
And now you all get to say that if you can read it.
No, the new members.
New members. Here, I'll do this for you. Here we go. Okay, I was trying to make it bigger for them.
Right here. I don't have my glasses on.
Okay. I see better without mine.
Join your membership. We covenant to journey
with this
spiritual community, learning and serving together.
Ours is a religious community which honors the past, envisions the future, and lives with passion in the present. As we welcome you among us, we pledge to you our support. You will be cared for, and you will be asked to care for others within and beyond this community. Right here.
We offer our energies, our talents, and our resources to build a community of exploration and depth, integrity and compassion. We are eager to merge our religious journeys with this fellowship and serve work in justice and hope.
Today, we rededicate ourselves to our vision of bringing love and reason to life and building a just and compassionate world. All of us. In the spirit of love and freedom, we have affirmed our intentions to help and encourage one another. May the relationship we have recognized today be a source of strength and joy to us all.
Tomorrow, we honor Indigenous Peoples Day. And the history of our religious roots, specifically our Unitarian family tree, is one that includes the harms of cultural imperialism. Family secrets like these, left untold, perpetuate moral and spiritual failings. So today, we are gathering alongside a larger movement of telling a more honest, more accurate, and complete history of our faith family. You are invited to join us as we reflect on our past to better understand the present and also better understand what the work of repair means for our future. And to do this, we'll start with connecting with our body and our breath. So please, will you breathe with me? In and out. A breath of gratitude to the east for air, to the south for fire, to the west for water, to the north for earth. A breath of recognition and respect for the Arapaho and Cheyenne of this land. And we'll breathe in again. A breath of acknowledgement for the Ute tribes. A breath of gratitude for the indigenous peoples and their ancestors, whose knowledge, oral histories, and languages passed to each generation have shaped our ecosystem culturally and spiritually, sustained and celebrated to this very day. A breath of appreciation for sky and sun, and one more deep breath of sacred trust to the spirit of life in us all.
Sing together again, Spirit of Life. This is in the gray hymnal, number 123. And again, please rise in body and spirit as you like. Number 123. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing
So here's a part of our Unitarian history that was largely left untold until very recently. In 1870, President Ulysses S. Grant invited the Protestant denominations to take over the management of the American Indian reservations and agencies. He wanted to cut down on reported government corruption and simultaneously help to, you got it, civilize the Indians. The American Unitarian Association accepted this charge. And they were in this district covering the Colorado Reservation, occupied by various tribes of the Ute, consisting of about 8,000 people at that time. And this fact, that they even were a part of this process, has been entirely forgotten until a couple of decades ago. I certainly do not remember studying this in my UU history class in the late 90s. The first encounter between the Mountain Ute tribe and the Unitarians was in 1871. The Reverend Jabez Nelson Trask, a Harvard School graduate, was sent by Massachusetts Unitarians to serve as government agent to the tribe at Los Pinos near Gunnison, Colorado. Our Mountain Desert District, which is this region of the UUA, their history described Trask as extremely confident in his righteousness and comfortably narrow in his view. Surprisingly, he didn't get along with the Utes, though apparently they found him a great source of amusement because of what he wore every day. He had these flared green trousers and he wore big green goggles, and so they called him Frogman. However, Trask forgot to spend any of the monies granted him to benefit the Utes, and he was removed from his post after 1 year. 3 other Unitarian ministers were sent over for the next period of 7 to 8 years. John S. Littlefield, Edward H. Danford, and Henry F. Bond. Together they worked on two separate agencies of the reservation, the White River in the north and Los Pinos in the south. Their primary mission, as reported in the American Unitarian Association 1877 yearbook, was to maintain a, quote, strictly honest administration of government affairs and to meet the Indians in a humane Christian spirit, saving them from trickery, robbery, intemperance, and other vices of frontier life, and to present to them the better phases of a Christian civilization. Now, the Unitarians at that time were definitively defined as Christians, so this would have matched a part of their own identity. According to historians, the Unitarians were largely failures in their efforts to bring the Utes into the dominant culture. Their efforts to assimilate the Utes not only failed at implementing the oppressive policy of the government, but we now also understand in hindsight their actions were a form of cultural imperialism. The real trouble started, however, after the last of our Unitarian agents left, and he was replaced by Agent Nathan Meeker, who was not a Unitarian. He came to the White River Agency in 1878 with literally a utopian vision of turning the Indians into farmers. Now, the Utes were a roaming tribe. They were hunters and gatherers. They were actually one of the tribes that a smallish tribe with a very large amount of land that they roamed through, all through, not so much in the plains, but up in the foothills and into the mountains. Despite all the documented evidence of the poor farming conditions in this area, despite the Utes' actually natural inclination to be roaming, Meeker kept pushing the Utes to embrace agriculture. Initially, the Utes even tolerated Meeker, even as he plowed land that had been designated theirs in perpetuity. However, when he plowed through the Ute horse race track, which was both a pastime and a ritual, the Utes had had enough. A battle ensued, and a number of people on both sides died, including Meeker himself. The Congress, our United States Congress, in response, passed the Ute Removal Act in 1881, forcibly relocating the Utes to an eastern Utah reservation far from the land to which they had felt spiritually connected for tens of thousands of years. As the Utes were moved out, whites followed closely behind, and within 3 days, these beautiful lands that were for centuries roamed by the Utes were occupied by white settlers. By 1886, 5 years later, the first Indian boarding schools were opened in Colorado. But many indigenous children, we know, were taken outside of Colorado on trains much further from their homelands. I invite us now to listen to the impact of this history from the voices of the Ute. Give me a minute. We'll begin with them talking about the impact of on their language of this kind of dislocation. And I want you to listen to both the tragedy and the resilience.
We're forced to never use our language because it was not supposed to be at all. It was forbidden. And we were supposed to learn the English language.
When I went into the government school, I was told not to speak my language. And some of us were told not to speak their prayer song or their medicine song.
My first language I could not use, so I learned a second language, which is English. I lost my identity because I was no more Indian.
So a lot of us went through mental, emotional, and spiritual experiences. They were trying to take the Indian out of the person and put him into the main society.
Ute language is who we are. It identifies us with Mother Earth. It's a gift from the Creator. Without the language, we are only paper people. We don't have an identity.
We need to teach the language because the language is being lost. And to me, that's what my culture is. My culture is language.
I just want my language to survive. I want people, my people, to embrace it, to learn it, because it is who we are.
So the power of the language in any nationality is the most powerful thing that you carry.
Oh, there's a whole other section. That was the first black area. There's a second black area. If you could keep playing, thank you.
We're honoring our past leaders here and thankful for what they have done, for what we have here today, and that someday we can fill those boots that they have walked in.
It's an ongoing story that probably never will be told, completely.
We need to respect all those that came before us because they were the strong ones. They're my role models. They lived in the mountains. They survived. They were surviving people.
There's a romantic picture of the Western times, but we're still here, and we still have a bright future. and we have a great handle on our culture.
We want to be respected. Our culture wants to be respected. Our language, our religion, our way of life.
I want to know the past in order to be able for the children to survive the future.
That's our kind of our goal, that we build our language back up, build our spirituality back up, so that we can start to embrace who we are and be proud of who we are as Native people, as Utes from the Ute Nation.
I'll be sending out resources, that whole video, as well as a few other resources following the service, because it's really very, very powerful to hear Indigenous voices. So here we are, 151 years after the Utes and the Unitarians' first encounter. Here we are, naming that white Unitarians were a part of a story of settler imperialism that led to the removal of the Utes from their ancestral lands and to forcibly dismantling the Ute culture. What does one do with an institutional family secret like that? For years, for even centuries, these kind of harms were kept secret, left out of our history books, avoided or enshrouded in shame. That's a very natural response to things we wish we hadn't done. So natural that our very bodies instinctively avoid looking back at harm we received or harm we caused for fear of re-traumatizing ourselves. Even generationally, some of the most cutting-edge research on trauma right now is that generationally it gets carried in our bodies. But here's the thing. By not dealing with it, it doesn't go away. It just causes dirty pain, which is a term I first learned in Resmaa Menakem's book on racialized trauma called My Grandmother's Hands, which I also highly recommend to you. Clean pain is going through something, the pain of our history, the pain of our past, and feeling the feelings that are there. The sadness, the grief, the shame, the loss, the uncomfortable feelings that come when we mess up and cause harm. Making amends then is possible if we go through that uncomfortable process of the clean pain. Dirty pain is trying to go around it through avoidance, denial, blame, any of the things that we humans have gotten so good at using when we're uncomfortable. Dirty pain always lasts longer and prolongs discomfort. And in our country, we have centuries of history of dirty pain that continues to come out sideways in blame, avoidance, violence. I'm hearkening back to last week's service with the Jewish High Holy Days, and I see them as a way to clear out that dirty pain, to face the discomfort of our past actions, and to seek to return to right relationship. Boy, I wish we had more of those annual community-wise rituals to clean things up. In the case of the Utes and the Unitarian, the process of repair was begun in 2009 at our General Assembly in Utah, which was named after the Utes. The UUA president of the time, Bill Sinkford, offered an apology to the Ute people, saying this: "And so to the Ute people, the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations offers our heartfelt apology. We participated, however ineptly, in a process that stole your land and forced a foreign way of life on you. We ask for your forgiveness, and we promise to stand with you as you chart your way forward. Forrest Cooch, a member of the Ute Nation, rose to respond to Bill Sinkford's remarks. He began by saying that he spoke as an individual, not as the Ute Nation. And then he said, I accept your apology. Your forgiveness is not going to solve everything, but at least it's a start. That start was over a decade ago. I'm not familiar with with the history of the Unitarian Universalist Association and the Utes from there. But I am wondering what happens after an apology? What's possible? This is the question that takes us as Unitarian Universalists from being a liberal faith to a liberatory faith. A faith that really seeks liberation for all people. The premises of a liberal faith, which many of us would say, we're a liberal faith. I've used that for many, many years. So the premises of being a liberal faith, according to UU Harvard theologian Dan McKinnon, are individual autonomy, free thinking, and self-criticism. Those are great things. It's really wonderful to be able to have those. I think we might be sometimes as Unitarians and Universalists a little short on the self-criticism. Humility is not necessarily one of our gifts, but it's good that it's in there as an aspiration, right? So that's how people would define liberal theology. It's a free thinking, it's non-creedal, and the self-criticism is also this ability to change our beliefs as we march on through life. All of these are keys to a life of self-examination. Self-examination allows us to get to that clean pain which can get us to an honest and authentic apology. A liberatory faith moves us a step further than that. UU theologian Sophia Betancourt invites us into praxis, which is a constant loop of practice and reflection. She writes, liberation demands relational, accountable work informed by solidarity, moving beyond predominantly white cultural heritages and norms to re-sacralize what has been desecrated through dominance and oppression. I love that, re-sacralize, to make worthy and sacred again what has been desecrated by dominance and oppression. And to learn from those whose collective survival and promised liberation can truly remake the world. To relearn from those whom we have oppressed, because it is their wisdom that can truly remake the world. So becoming a liberatory faith requires a level of relationship and connection that moves us beyond apology, beyond a public apology. It really moves us into a relationship of vulnerability, trust, and love. And these are the kinds of relationships I hope that we can make with our community partners as we become that center for spiritual exploration and justice making of our dreams. One where we're not centering ourselves, but offering ourselves in honest relationship, offering our resources, our love, our humility, and centering those who have been pushed to the margins through a history of domination and oppression, which many white people, white culture, was a part of. And even within that offering, accepting with humility a no thank you, that's not really what we wanted. It's not your way, but our way. This is what we need. And adapting and adjusting ourselves so that we can re-sacralize what has been desecrated. This kind of centering means listening, honoring, and following the guidance, wisdom, and processes of those that have been traditionally ignored. Asking about what is needed to rebuild historic trust and relationships. May we learn from our hidden history how to build these kind of courageous relationships that will guide us all to true liberation. Blessed be. Amen.
Each week, we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives and our community by giving half of our plate away to those organizations that share our values. Today, the half plate is for the Crop Walk of Boulder County, nominated by our Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship Crop Walk team. Boulder Valley has been proud to take action against hunger in our community by supporting the crop hunger walks for many, many years. And this year, the crop walk is Sunday, October 16th. Our community goal is to provide more meals for the growing number of people who need them in our community and contribute to food security all around the world. You can text your donation at the number on the screen, or if you are at the fellowship today, please place your donation in the offering plate as it passes. And please give generously as you so often do. And as our musical reflection begins, we invite you to reflect on a time when an apology was the start of a new way of being with someone.
Patsy. For the work of the fellowship and the work of the Crop Walk of Boulder County, we dedicate our efforts and our offerings. Beloveds, we gathered here this morning to tell a difficult story, a story that may bring us our own sadness about the history of this country, the history of our people, our Unitarian faith, bring us perhaps in right relationship to our faith as well. We also gather here as a people of courage and a people of joy and a people of caring and a people who seek integrity and right relationship and a people of strength. We gather today with our own joys, things we brought with us that might just be so exciting in our own heart, parts of our own life, and with our own sorrows, our own griefs, our own losses. I invite us in this moment to just have a few moments of silence, to just step into your own heart. Connect with that which is most worthy or most tender. And begin to just breathe a little more deeply, allowing whatever that tenderness or that beauty that is in your heart, allow that to have a little more spaciousness. If it is something tender, imagine a warm embrace of love surrounding it. And if you wish, as you are breathing quietly, breathe out in a whisper the name or the situation. Give it even more air and invite it into this sacred gathering of our community. Allow what is in your heart to be expressed and taken by the breath, by the wind, by the sun, by the soil. There is nothing that you need to hold all by yourself. There is never a time when you are fully alone. Allow what is in your heart, the gift of some spaciousness, the gift of some tender compassion by yourself or by others, the gift of possibility, of hope. and of love. May we offer that to ourselves as we offer it to others within and beyond the walls of this beloved community. Blessed be. Amen.
Good morning. We are going to sing together one more time, Meditation on Breathing. This is in the Teal Hymnal, number 1009, and we are going to lead this. So we're going to start. There's 3 parts to this. The first part is just a low drone that Brigitta is going to lead. And then Lydia and I will come in on the melody, and then at the end, I'll come in on the descant. So we were thinking kind of this section for the drone, so start and keep going, and this section for the melody, so, start and keep going, yay, and then this section for the descant when we get to there, okay? So we're going to start with Brigitta. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Yay! Good job.
Thank you all. I have a few announcements today. This afternoon, I've been invited to participate in the Remembering 1864 from Fort Chambers to Sand Creek. It's a program at the Dairy Center, and it is bringing Arapaho from their 2 reservations in Oklahoma and, where's the other one? Wyoming, right? They're here, and it is a part of this reconciliation process, and I will be speaking on behalf of Christian clergy, recognizing that Unitarians were Christians at the time when these things were happening. It's from 3 to 5 p.m. I hope some of you will join me as a way to honor this Indigenous Peoples Weekend. Our dedication service is coming up. It is it really 2 weeks from now? It is. Oh my gosh. October 22nd and 23rd, Saturday from 2 to 5. Saturday starts with a ribbon cutting, which will be right out front there, and then an open house, and then a ceremony in here. And then our Sunday worship service on the 23rd is going to be extra long. We're just going to name it. It's going to be long. Okay? And it's planned from 10 to 11:30. We have Reverend Carlton Elliott Smith, who's the lead of the Pacific Western region, will be with us. We will be honoring and dedicating this space for our future together. And the choir will be singing on that Sunday too. There's a lot going on. There's going to be a lot. You just don't want to miss either of those, okay? And when we first moved in from our former sanctuary, you may remember that we took a paper crane with us. Do you remember the cranes? I still know where mine is. When we had an open house back in 2020, many of us brought them back. But if you still have them rattling around your house somewhere, you can bring them back in the next week or so, and they're going to be collected. We're stringing them up so that they will be ready for the opening. And if you have no idea what we're talking about, there will be an opportunity to make cranes in Fellowship Hall in the next couple of weeks, and they will be presented during our dedication service. Oh, and on November 11th, there is a dinner for BASIC, which is a Boulder area sanctuary and immigration coalition. And that is the group that has supported Ingrid and immigrant reform. And so that's the evening of November 11th. Keep your eye out on that and do try to come. It is a fundraiser. And the work of, as we know, this week, DACA was, what do they want to call it? Killed? Excuse me, what? Overturned, thank you. That's too kind a word for the impact, in my view. So, the work of immigration continues to be deeply, deeply important. So please do plan to attend that dinner. And now we will extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, or the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Let us go forth in love, building this liberatory faith, this faith that can re-sacralize what has been lost. Let us be a part of that journey. Blessed be. Amen.